In this lesson, we'll discuss how to customize our buttons. The two buttons on our main user interface look pretty boring, definitely not very iOS-like. Interestingly, there isn't a simple point-and-click solution to creating nice-looking buttons in iOS. Instead, we use custom images to tailor their look. Now, it would be difficult to create properly sized images for all of the buttons a typical iOS app would have. We might want to have a common look to our buttons, but based on their titles and positioning, they'll be of varying widths and possibly heights. So what can we do? Luckily, iOS supports this notion of a resizable or stretchable image. UIImage provides an instance method called resizable image with cap insets that will produce a new image that can shrink and grow as needed. Now, this method takes an argument of type UIEdge that allows us to specify the end caps of the image, which are the parts of the image that we want to be a fixed size, and then everything not covered by those cap values can be resized as needed. Let's look at our button BG image. I'll look at the large version of this image. So we have these four rounded corners. So we'd like to specify UIEdge insets that will cover these four corners, and then let everything in the middle of this image be stretched as needed. So we'll switch over to our main view controller, and let me shrink down the utility section. I'll start by defining a UIEdge insets. And I'll use this UIEdge insets make function. I'll give it a cap of 12 for all four corners. I'll then define a UI image. Call this button image. And our string is going to be button BG. And then on that image returned from that image name call, I'm going to call it resizable image with cap insets and pass in the insets value. Then on each one of our buttons, I'll call its set background image, passing in the button image, and specifying a control state of UI control state normal. So this is just the standard resting state of a button. I'll do the same thing for the About button. Run the app and see how that looks. Well, that looks pretty good. But we've got a couple problems here. One, the text color is probably not quite right. More importantly, we've got some white edges coming through this image. So let's see how we can fix that. Let's go to the main view, slide this over and open up the utility section. Select the buttons, and these are currently defined as a rounded rect type. I'm going to change this to custom. I'll do the same thing for the other button. Now, the one thing with the custom buttons is they lose any appearance they have in Interface Builder, and this can sometimes make it difficult to see these. So oftentimes I just like to set a background color on these buttons so that I can see them in Interface Builder. So I'll set a light gray color. Now, of course, that doesn't look very good, but we can fix that in our code. Let's go back to main view controller. For each one of our buttons, I'll set its background color. And I'll set that to UI color, clear color. And this will just clear out that gray background color that we specified. So I'll run this again. And there, that looks much better. Now I no longer have those white edges around these buttons. Let's go make a small tweak to the appearance of these buttons. Specifically, we'll look at their text color. It's currently set to a blue color. But let's go set this to not quite black, but we'll go with this tungsten color. Probably look pretty good. Let's run it and see how it looks. Very good. So now we've got much better looking buttons and our main user interface is complete. You now know how to create resizable images in iOS. We use UIImage's resizable image with cap insets method whenever we need to create a stretchable background. Although this technique is used primarily with buttons, it can be used in almost any scenario where you need a flexible background image.